welcome back. It's Season 18 of World Online Racing, and this is Console Tier 4. I'm here tonight with your regular Tier 4 commentator. It is Simlast. Simlast, can we hear you? Hang on, we can't hear you. Get me 2 seconds. Can we hear you now?
What?
We can hear you now.
You hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me if you can't hear me because my headphones are a little bit bugged, so sometimes they don't let me talk.
We can hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Now?
Yep, now.
Okay. Oh my god.
We're here for the Australian Grand Prix, and I think Simlas is going to tell us a little bit more about the track that we've got in front of us tonight.
Yeah, of course. This is the Albert Park circuit in Australia, in Melbourne. This track have 16 turns, and it's a very high speed track, and it's very difficult to overtake, and the principal point to overtake is turn 1, turn 11 and turn 13. This is the principal points, and we can, like I have already said, it's a very high speed track. Yes.
So we should be...
Yes, and it's 5.2 kilometers long.
So we should be getting lots of racing action tonight, as we usually get around the Albert Park circuit. And I'm honoured to be demonstrating to you tonight, Season 18. And
yes,
we'll be kicking off in Australia, then we'll be heading to Austria. The third race of the season is going to be at Belgium before we exit the first European season and we head to Sao Paulo. Then we go to Qatar and Abu Dhabi before taking a dip back to Europe in Italy. Then we go to Bahrain, Mexico, Saudi Arabia, and we'll be finishing the season, as we should always, in Japan. And the grid for this season, this is the full-time grid that we have on offer to us. It's not going to be the grid that we always have. For example, this weekend we've got a few drivers missing, so I'll just run you through those that are missing and those that are replacing them. So I'm just going to bring it up now. We have in the Red Bull AMS Wards and Domizzi. In the Mercedes we have Lucan Luca N. In the Ferrari we've got VMV Indian and AERT Jake. In the McLaren, we've got Steam and Shumi 91 Legend. In the Aston Martin, we've got Reese B and ETE Pepine. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. In the Alpine, we've got GL Ultra. In the Williams, we've got Ollie Hornby and Manlike. And in the Racing Bull, we've got Dave ECT81. I'm going to work out how we pronounce that as we go along. Then we've got in the Sauber Oku and Pavlos. In the Haas, Arthur and Knox. However, tonight we won't be racing in the regular season cars. We'll be racing in the My Team cars, or the creator cars, which makes it slightly more difficult to follow, but I'm sure we'll be able to. We'll do our best, won't we? I will be getting the action on as soon as I possibly can. My Xbox has just decided to update. So, tell me, predictions for tonight's race. Who have we got for the opening round of the Season 18 season?
I don't know. I literally don't have idea of who can win tonight because I don't know one driver here. So I don't know. I literally have no idea.
Well, I can tell you who's won before. In previous WOR races, we've got a couple of race winners. We've got Reese, who won on debut in Azerbaijan. We've got Manlike, who won in Spain on debut. And we've got Pavlos, who won in China just a couple of seasons ago. But lots and lots of drivers making their debuts tonight, and lots of drivers who should be looking to prove themselves on the WOR grid. I think Tier 4 is a very, very difficult one to make your debut in. I know I certainly couldn't do it, but I don't think I'd be enough pace for the Xbox tiers down the bottom. And yeah, we should be in for some good racing action tonight.
Yes.
Anybody in the chat, what are our predictions for tonight's race? I'll bring up the grid once again, just so you can have a little reference. Remember, we've not got everybody. We haven't got Vettel. We haven't got... I'm trying to remember off the top of my head now. I think that might be it, actually. We've got a full grid, I'm pretty sure, for tonight. We should do. And we've got a lot of racing action. This isn't the primary console tier that we've got racing tonight. We've got Tier 3 as well. And we had Tier 7.
I think it's tier 3, 4, 6 and 7, I think. I don't know if I'm wrong.
I think 5 and 7 raced, or are currently racing. They began at 7, whereas we are starting at 8. Just getting everything set up now. And I can't wait for the green flag. Because it is my debut in WOR. As I was referencing many drivers. So we've got lots of new debuts tonight from the sounds of things. You're debuting as well?
Yes, in commentator, yes, but I have already raced last season, but I do only a few races and I didn't do so well. I was in tier 7. I wasn't so fast in the 23.
Oh, you were a driver then?
Yeah, but I wasn't so fast in the last game.
That's right. I can't guarantee my ability either. That's why I'm sitting here talking about these drivers who can drive very quickly, and not myself. I'm a very passionate controller racer, as opposed to a wheel racer. I just can't get my head around it. I have got a wheel, but I've never
raced in a...
I've never raced in WOR. I've never been good enough for this prestigious league.
Well, I think trying sometimes is good, because I tried, I have learned that I wasn't so much good, and then I changed direction. And now I'm commentating the tier 4.
So, sort of a promotion then, if you were doing tier 7 and now you're doing tier 4.
Yes, but it's a promotion, not a very promotion.
In a way, in a sense. So. There we go.
You are in?
I am in, and I think we're ready to get going now.
Yes.
For this race. We've got 20 drivers on the grid, I believe. Indeed,
yes, we are full.
We
full
are
grid.
full, that's brilliant. And we're just waiting for a
But
couple of them to ready up.
I don't know why it in the lobby says that we can have 22 drivers. I don't know why.
Well, because we've got
The My Player cars.
yes.
Maybe.
So, yeah. To the person in chat who predicted Vettel to win, he's the one driver not racing tonight, I believe, from the full-time lineups. I know that he is not racing, and I'm not 100% sure if he's the only one, but there we go. We will get to the Australian track. You previewed it earlier. I'll go over it again. We've got 14 corners. I think there's a couple of kinks that aren't counted as corners, 5.278 kilometres, and 3 DRS zones, including 2, that are backing on each other. And yeah, there we go, there's the 14 corners. And it's a very, very quick track, as you mentioned earlier, and we should be getting a lot of side-by-side action, a lot of intense action, I always find there is around Australia, because these drivers they're going to have to be pushing to the absolute limit when they're racing side by side this evening. And we are here with the beginning of the WOR season. We'll see who the first driver is out on track. We've got a couple of them getting prepared to go already. And talk to me about strategy around Australia. What sort of tyres are we looking for the race?
For the race, principally, we can have some strategy that can be medium hard or hard medium. It's very rare that in Australia someone start with with the soft compound because here in this track we can have so much degrading of the tire, and the principally strategy is medium hard or hard medium. But maybe it's a city circuit because we can see that the barriers are so close to the track, so it's possibly to have a safety car in the opening lap. So maybe someone can start with the soft and then try a long run hard. So never mind.
But a soft would certainly be a gamble then around the Australian track, and it's a gamble I'm expecting we can see a couple of drivers make today, but unless they've burnt them all up in this 20-minute qualifying session, that will decide the grid for your opening race. And we've got Oku, who I'm going to have to work out how to pronounce his name, and I'm sure he will tell me. We're heading round the first corner, and we can watch on board for a lap of the Albert Park circuit. So heading down, it's going to be a very, very quick turn one. It's not flat out, but it's as close to flat out as you can get, carrying as much speed as you possibly can. Then it's coming out onto the second straight. This is where you'll get your second dose of DRS on the lap, although I didn't count the first one because it's sort of half and half. Then heavy braking, heading through turn two. And then coming out of turn three, you don't want to run too wide. He's managed to stay just within the track limits there, although it is very, very tempting to push. That's flat out that corner, and he's had a little bit of a wobble on the exit, but the steering in F1 24, especially with the new update, the handling, allows you to stay. It allows you to save a spin a lot more than you would be able to, so you can push these cars even further to the limit. Then these corners we'll be seeing people wobble through, and that is an incredible line to take through there. That's not one you'll be able to in previous games. Originally, you'd be able to do the first corner just like he did in the second corner. Wouldn't be as flat out as he took it. You'd be looking to get more of an apex, but there he's just ran straight over it. And he's going to come around now, the final corner, not being held up by that driver a little bit. That could be deemed as getting in the way, but I'm sure it won't be as he comes up to the line. His first lap is going to be a 1:15.7. That's not a terrible lap to start off with, as that's, I think, Jake diving into the pits. His lap won't be counted. I'll try and find the next driver out on track. It's going to be Manlight.
And Monley, it's Monley. Monley, the 16.462. Then I wanted to let you remember, I think, that for the first two zone of DRS, we have only one detection point at the exit of turn 12, and that detection point count for the first and the second DRS. So if someone can overtake the other one on the first zone of DRS, it's so much advantage, because in the second straight and zone DRS they have another time the DRS. So it's very important to do well the last sector or be behind in the last lap.
And it's about racing smart, really. And that's one of those things that you're just going to have to judge. Luca N comes across the line in 8th place. But it's, yeah, you do have to be very, very smart around this track, because, well, yeah, anything can really happen. And the DRS is a perfect example of that, where you do have to think about it a lot, as that was somebody going up near the top of the timesheets. I think that was Ward going up with a 1:16.0. Pavlos, interestingly, has set a lap on the medium compound tyres, which is, you'd think is a fair enough strategy around most tracks. But around Australia, you're most likely to be driving on those mediums in the race. You're less likely to be driving on the softs unless something's gone wrong for you in the race, or as we said earlier, you've taken a gamble onto the soft compound tyres early on. So yeah, an interesting statement of intent from Pavlos on his first lap of the season. And we've got lots of drivers now. We're over halfway through these drivers coming across the line and setting their times. And we've had a few decent ones. Oku on top with a 1:15.7. Reese is the only other driver in the 1:15s. And is Luca on a lap? No, he's not. Is
It's Devect 81.
Davect 81 is on a lap. He comes around the final corner, a bit of a wobble, but he saved it, but can he slip into the 1:15s? Not quite. He'll be a 1:16. But he's also another driver on a medium compound tyre.
Oxu have retired.
Oxu has retired. He's left the session as well, so I think now Ollie Hornby's left the session as well.
I think there is a problem with the lobby.
Possibly because Huimus now has retired from the session. He was in 6th place. And we've got quite a few drivers, Pavlos and Knox. I will check the Discord just to see. We are restarting the session.
The ghosting isn't off.
We are restarting the session.
So we are restarting the session.
But it's a good opportunity for... Sorry, Karen.
Talk. No, talk.
I was just going to say it's a good opportunity for the drivers to get used to the circuit in qualifying conditions.
Yeah, and I don't know, but I don't think we have to wait, no? Or we have to quit the lobby.
I say await further instruction, is I think what we're going to have to do, and what we can do in the meantime is watch. Oh, I was hoping some of these drivers would do something entertaining, but alas, we have just gone back straight to the lobby.
They say the new lobby. So I think we have to quit.
Well, we're back at the start of the first. But yes, we are going to have a new lobby. So you'll get to see my beautiful face once again. I'm sure you're all very happy about that. Yeah, there we go. But yes, some decent times have been set so far in this race. Or in this qualifying session. We did have Pavlos, who looked very, very quick, considering the fact that he was on those medium compound tyres, and he was still able to set a time good enough for P6. And yeah, it is going to be a very interesting race. It's a race where it's something I've not really experienced so far in my short, albeit commentary career, where all the drivers are going to be so tight on the circuit. And therefore we'll be seeing a lot of racing action. And again, all the better for it. Because that's what we're here to see. We're here to see racing. We're not here to see cars drive in formation for whatever it would be around Australia. I'm trying to remember how long a 50% race would be. I think it's 29 laps, if my memory serves me correctly.
I think 36.
36 laps, so even longer. Brilliant.
Yeah, I think. I don't know.
Action. The more racing action we get, the happier we are. We're just setting up the new lobby now. And we hope to get a race, maybe not quite as chaotic in the reasons that it was, but I'd still quite like to get a race as chaotic as we had just a couple of years ago in Australia. You remember the red flag sagas that we had in real life, which cost Carlos Sainz and admittedly Nico Hülkenberg a podium. And it was a bit chaotic, but it was brilliant. And that's what makes a good race, in my opinion. A little bit of chaos sprinkled in, and we could get a little bit of chaos sprinkled in is the recipe for a perfect race.
Also, I've reinvited. I think you have the invite now.
I have not received an invite yet.
No, but it's 29 laps.
It's 29 laps. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. It's good to know. I was trying to remember because off the top of my head, I think it's 50. What is it? Laps for the Australian Grand
No,
Prix
it's
regular?
50%.
Yeah. I'm just trying to
And
remember
we
how many
have
it is
to
for a regular
do
one.
29 multiplied to 2.
Times 2.
So,
I'm racing you here for this. 58,
okay.
I think. I haven't brought the calculator up, but I'm trusting my mental maths there.
Yes, it's 58.
Ah, there we go. Maybe my GCSE maths was worth it. So I can work out how long we're going to have action in WOR tonight. But yeah, interesting to see a couple of the drivers in their first stints, and I presume they're going to do exactly the same strategy in the second because they didn't know that we were going to restart the lobby. It'll be interesting to see whether those drivers stick with the same strategy and stick with the medium tyres for their first runs. I'm presuming they're surely going to do the softs for the next. I'd imagine there'll be 2 runs, but yeah, interesting strategies at play already. And we were only 1 lap into the season. Just trying to get everybody in now. We've got 17 out of 20 drivers. If that does not include you, then please make it include you and join so we can get going.
No,
18.
I am like a spectator now.
Yeah.
So we missed 3 drivers.
And I've remembered to click spectator this time. I've had quite a few occasions where I've not clicked spectator and have been thrown into a car at the race start.
For me, in my opinion, the turn 1 and turn 2, it could be a very chaos because it's the track in the straight. It's we have space for like 2-3 cars, but then in the turn it's like space for 1 car because the line is very
I think I get
why
what you're
I'm
saying.
Italian?
It's very thin.
Why am I Italian? I don't know how to say.
It's a very tight line. Is that the word you're looking for?
Yeah.
There we go.
Yes.
We got there in the end. It is a very tight line through turn 1 and 2, and it's very quick as well. And all the drivers will be trying to take it as quick as they possibly can, because, well, why wouldn't they? They're not going to try and sit back and be last like I would, heading through a regular league race lobby. This isn't regular league racing. This is World Online Racing, and I think we're up to the top 80 odd drivers in the world on console, which are racing.
Yes, the best 80 drivers on console, so we can have a very good race in the spectacular sense and in the correctly sense. So for me, they will be so correct in the race.
We've got a question to the commentators coming in from the chat. BaraQ_12 has asked, which is your favourite track? You go first.
Me?
Yeah.
My favorite track is Monaco. Because in this track you can see really who is a good driver. Because it is so only skill. The car doesn't count so much in Monaco. Your?
That's a pretty good shout, actually. I do think Monaco is a good test of drivers. I think I'm a big fan of Japan because I just like Sector 1. I like it now that F1 updated the controller, so now it's actually drivable. But in terms of just racing it and from a watching perspective, it is great. We are back to a racing session, and we are going to have a few drivers out on track. Australia's got to be up there for me, personally, because it is a very quick track, just like Suzuka, and we will be getting yeah, we'll be getting a lot of racing action. It's a very similar turn one, where it's very, very quick, and drivers haven't got much time to react, especially when there's 20 of them trying to fit into one corner, which doesn't go.
And for me, a problem can be also turn 3, because we have a heavy braking zone, and it's so easy to lock up the back tires, and so it could be very dangerous for the drivers today.
I agree with you there. I think because of the fact that it's a long straight and it's a double DRS zone, and the first two corners are pretty much lift off if you dare, brake if you're a bit of a wimp, really. Then the third corner comes as a little bit of a shock, because it comes a lot faster than you would expect.
The first to signal up will be Ultra, technically.
It will be. He's
GL Ultra.
He wasn't the first one out of the pits, but everybody was warming up their tyres. He's pretty much gone for a push lap to start with, and we will watch on board with him as he heads round the final corner to start his lap. We've got more drivers coming out to set their laps at the start of this session. A desperate call. A desperation, really, as we've got just 3 drivers left in the pit, because we've waited so long, and quite a few of them didn't actually set times in that first run. We've got Huimus and Davekt, I hope I'm pronouncing both those names right, who have gone onto the medium compound tyres. However, this time, it looks like, I think it was Manlike and Pavlos, they both come out on softs instead of the medium tyres they originally ran on. So, a change in strategy already. But we've got Ultra now heading through the high speed
Ultra and Oxco have do the same time on the first sector. Oxco was fast on Ultra of only 2/10.
So this is what I mean by it's going to be incredibly close, because all the drivers.
Oh, track limits for Oxco. Track limits for Oxco. Gets
Okay,
it
so
on
he's
the
invalidated.
chicane.
So Ultra will be setting the fastest lap of the... Well, he will be setting the fastest lap because he's going to be the first one across the line. So regardless of what sort of lap this is, it's going to be the fastest lap. A little bit of an issue with getting it lined up for the penultimate corner, but he's got it straight, and he's going down the main straight, and it's a 1:16.2, which would have put him, I think, P4 in the provisional... In the provisional start. But Huimus now, it's going to come across the line, and he's going to go just slower, as is Justin. So they're all slotting in about the 1:16.2s, 1:16.3s. But remember, Huimus is on the mediums as Ollie Hornby goes fastest of them all so far with a 1:16.1. And Davet slots in with a 1:16.3. So the medium runners aren't actually faring too badly in comparison to where the fastest runners are going.
Pep in track limits. They all taking track limits because, like a driver, I can say my opinion, and because of the 2 line, you don't know very well where you can go, where is the limit, because it confounds you very much. It's a very problem, these 2 line.
And that's where the practice of the track comes in, as Luca is the first driver to dip into 1:15 to 1:15.8. But that's where the knowledge of the track can really give you an edge over everybody else, because it's a struggle to learn the track and learn where you can push slightly off the track and slightly off and slightly on. Like, you have to be more careful around some areas of the track. There are others where you can push the limit. And I think the fast chicane is an example of somewhere where you really, really have to keep it on the edge, but just not over the line, because I personally, from my perspective as an average sim racer, it's very difficult to keep it in a straight line, or to keep it on the track through there. And I think every time I run Australia, I have to run it on regular corner cutting rather than the corner cutting we'll be running tonight strict, because just simply because of the fact that it's too difficult for me.
Is DM, I think DM is the only one in the lap. Let's see. 43.9 in the second sector.
That's quite quick. That's quite quick in comparison to a few of the ones we've seen so far. It's not purple, but it's up there. And he's going to have to hook it. Although there's a big lock-up heading into that corner. He manages to stay out and on the track, not running off onto the curb as many have before. Wobbling there, hitting the curb slightly and having an adverse reaction to it. But he's keeping it straight, and he's heading down the main straight now. What sort of time is he going to set?
It's a good lap. It's a good lap.
It's going to be a good lap.
What?
It's going to be the best
Oh,
of them all.
nice.
A 1:15.8 as Steam sets the tone for everybody else. He jumps past Luca by 8/10, and that's one of the worst corner cuts I've ever seen from Jake there. And he's managed to keep it a valid lap.
He was flying on the last sector. Is very incredible.
He was
26.5 for old school in the first sector.
in the first sector, and he was the one who.
It's a lap. Maybe he can take a little bit. I don't know.
Because India
maybe
goes
yes.
third. He's the third driver to go into the 115s. Oku sets a purple second sector. He's going to get the slip.
43.9. 43.9. He was flying. He's flying.
So very similar to what Steam set. But around the final couple of corners now, he's going to keep it a lot more stable than Steam did, although a big lock up into the penultimate corner could cost him pole position. It's very, very tight, and that could be where Steam gets the edge. He didn't lock up as badly into the final corner.
It's full.
Across the line, wow. It is quicker. It is quicker than Steam. It's a 1:15.6. And that is a lap that certainly sets the tone. So far
Ultra have started now another lap.
Who has
now
Ultra.
on turn 3.
So Ultra, the early pace setter, he's come out on a new set of soft compound tyres, almost running off and invalidating his lap on the exit, but managing to keep it going. He's gone slower by a tenth. Very difficult to know whether to say up or down, because technically he's up because it's more time, but he's up in terms of better. So anyway, he was worse in the first sector. He's going to come up to the second sector split time now. I spent a whole sector explaining that, and it's going to be just about slower than his previous lap. So he gained
track limits.
He was pushing, and it was a very good lap up to that point, and he really had the opportunity to take it. But there we go. He invalidates, and therefore
Davect is gaining 2/10 on the first sector.
On the first sector, he has Huimus as well as gained 1/10. So times are tumbling here in Australia. Davect
44.0. He lose 2/10 on
not
the
a great second sector, but he's going to come through now in the final sector. He was strong in the first one, not so strong in the second, but can he hook the third one up and come across the line in a strong position? He's going to be around the final couple of corners, trying to keep it straight and trying not to lock up. He's not made the mistakes that Oku and Steam have done through the last couple of corners, and he will come across the line. And despite the fact it wasn't great the first couple of sectors, he will come across the line in 6th place. A 1:16.1. He just edges out Ollie Hornby, who is also improving, but very minimally, by 100th. As who was that? That was Reese going up there with a 1:15.8. Huimus as well with a 1:15.9. So we're all dipping into the 1:15s. That's the sort of way you have to be to get a good time. What can Ollie Hornby do? Just about outside of 1:16.0. Who's coming up to the line now? Is it Wards?
Knox.
It is Wards. And he goes second place with a 1:15.7. So he's the one pressurising Oku as much as anybody else has so far this session. Knox sets a time in 7th place, a 1:15.9. Just looking through to see if anybody's on a lap. Don't think they are.
Pepin started now the lap.
So this is his first push lap of the session, and well, he needs to have it turned on straight away, as there's a big wobble out of the exit, just taking a little bit too much curbing when he was a little bit too unstable. But that's the limits that you have to push at Australia, and Pepone is going to come up to the end of the first sector, and it's purple. There has been a few glitches where it said it's purple and it's not, but he is certainly pushing the limit, and I wouldn't be surprised if it is actually purple. I will know when he comes up to the second sector split time whether it is purple, because that's the one I remember. It's 1:43, I believe, a high 1:43s, and he
43.9
sets a 1:40. He sets a 43.9. So this is going to be a good lap. Pepine comes round,
but he has got a little bit of understeer in the chicane, so I don't know if he lose some time here.
Then you can see that he used the curbing a little bit more than most. to turn there as there's a big lock-up. Heading into the penultimate corner, a big wobble on the exit. This lap's not been perfect, but is it good enough? He's going to come across the line now. Pepine to set a 1:16.3. And that will put him down in P15. As we get Shumi Legend, I think he's going to be the next driver to cross the line. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Oh, Jake on the wall.
Jake hits
in the
wall,
exit
and
of...
there goes his front wing. So that is Jake really under pressure now.
It's coming Shumi 6-0.
With a 16.0. But did Jake just spin on the exit of the final corner?
Yes. Sorry.
That's right. Steam goes fastest.
Oh, Steam!
It's a huge lap, a huge statement of intent. And he...
Oxu, improving of a tenth on the first sector.
And he only needs
Let's
to
see
improve
if
by
we can retake.
He only needs to improve by a tenth across this whole lap if he wants to take that first position away from Steam. Coming across the second sector split time, he's almost 3 cents up. So Oku is flying here early on in Australia. And this may be his last chance. Saloni may get one more lap. That's a huge lockup, almost running off the track. He doesn't quite, and he's able to keep it in a straight line. And he's going to come through the final couple of corners. Are we going to see the mistakes that we have early on? A little bit of a lockup, not as much as he did on his first run. And I think we could be on for a pole position lap. Coming down the main straight now, Oku is going to set a time. Is that time good enough for pole position? Yes, it is. A 1:15.3. And Oku steals it back off Steam. And the pressure is well and truly on for the rest of the grid to try to keep up. Ultra heads into the pits. Jake obviously heads into the pits. He's got no front.
There is Pauios that didn't have a time, and in the last session was so fast. Let's see, 16.2. I think he do something wrong because it's the same lap that he do with the medium compound the last session.
And we've got all the drivers coming in to get ready for their final runs. I think Luca might be on a push lap.
There's Justin. Justin is in the lap.
Justin is on a push lap. I think Luca's not on a push lap anymore because he's pushed too hard and he's run off the circuit, invalidating his own lap at just before the penultimate corner. I really need to memorise which number corner they are. I think it was turn 11, if I remember rightly. Justin apparently goes
purple for Justin.
And he's 1/10 down on his time. So he must be rapid through that first sector, which is a very, very good sign because there's a lot of straights down on this track that you have to nail. Justin's going to come across the second sector split time. It's not a purple second sector, but it's still an improvement. 0.15 seconds up as Justin comes round now to the final couple of corners, and he will be setting a lap time that is surely stronger than his 1:16.1. He must have messed up quite badly in the final session on his first lap as Domizi goes off. I think he may have had an incident which sees him retire from the session, and he will qualify last of the runners. But Justin now down the main straight. Is he able to set a competitive time? It's going to be a 1:15.8. That puts him up in 5th place. But Domizi out of the session with a 1:16.7 as his best time so far. And, well, he will be starting from the back of the grid if Jake and Geordie can set good times. Knox was up on his time. He invalidated his lap. Indian comes into the pits. Justin is still improving. He's 3:10. He's not because he's invalidated his lap now.
The first to do the last stint will be Rosso Bielsouza.
We've got Rosso Bielsouza, I think. I'm not 100% sure how to pronounce that. You know more than me. You're European. You know how to pronounce European things more than us stout Britons. But there we go. He's just getting.
I think he's Portuguese. I don't know.
I think so. Yeah. That's where I recognise South from.
But Rosso is
Italian.
It's a color in Italian. Yes. So I have a little doubt, but I don't know.
Well, Toro Rosso was isn't that just team Red? No.
Yes, Red.
Very imaginative name. Almost as bad as Racing Bulls.
Racing Bulls here Racing Bulls it will be in Italian, I have to say. No.
I'm sure it would sound much better in Italian than English.
Yes.
But the final runs do begin, and they begin with Rosso BL Salsa. And you can see drivers coming out of the pits. They won't be in his way because we are not... Well, we've got ghosting on, as BL Salsa goes very, very deep into that first corner and almost runs off the track. But this is the limits that you have to push. Because he's only, what, 3/10 off Reese in fourth, 4/10 off Wards in third? So that's the little gaps that I'm talking about. Those little gains you have to make in order to get up, and he's 0.15 seconds up as he heads through now the first sector split time. Wards goes up with a 1:15.5, and he's up into second place. What can BL Salsa do through the second sector? He's going to come up to the split time now, and it's going to be it's going to be a 43.99. It's a quarter of a second that he's improving on his lap, and at the moment that will put him provisionally P7. But lots of times will be tumbling late on in this session, so he probably needs to be a little bit higher than that if he wants even a top 10, because of the fact that all the drivers are clumped between the 1:15.8 and the 1:16.0s. Rosso BL Salsa, he's down with a 1:16.1 at the moment. He will be improving on that time. He's going to come across the line, and it's going to be a 1:15.7. Rosso BL Salsa's session is presumably done, and he's in provisional fourth place. That's the sort of lap that you need to put in. I think Wards is done for his session.
Guimus is improving off a tenth on the second sector.
Guimus is improving. Pavlos is invalidated, and Guimus is coming through now to the final sector. And it's a final sector where you have to be very on edge in order to have those times. But we've seen lots of mistakes so far around this corner especially. That was a tiny lock-up in comparison to some of the ones that we've seen. And he's going to come around the final corner, put the power down as much as he can. And what sort of time is he going to set? Is it competitive? Yes, it is. He goes up into fifth place just behind BL Salsa. So we do have times improving here. Oku is improving, and he is improving, well, minimally.
Oh, Ollie spinned on turn 10.
Hornby spins, and he certainly has spun. That's his session over. His best time will be a 1:16.0. Steam retires with a 1:15.3. He will not be improving. As Geordie comes around the final corner, he's not set a time yet, but this lap will be valid regardless of what it is. It's going to be a 1:16.8. That puts him in last place for qualifying. That's a driver running very wide around the final corner. I'm not 100% sure who that was.
It's Oksu.
It was Oksu. And he sets a lap of a 1:15.2. Pushing the limits of this car has paid off. And he's 3/10 down on Wards with nobody likely to catch him. We've got what drivers? Reese is going to come across the line. He's not going to improve. We've got Huimus. He's not going to improve. He's on his in-lap. Justin is only just not improving. Manlike comes into the pits. Luca is coming around the final couple of corners. What sort of time can he set? He just needs to improve by a tenth if he wants to go up to maybe sixth, maybe fifth, maybe even fourth. What's he got for us? It's fourth. 1:15.7. And Luca moves up, and that is the session over. Oku takes pole position ahead of Wards. Steam in third. Luca in fourth. BL Salsa in fifth. Quimus in sixth. Devet in seventh. Reese in eighth. Justin in ninth. And Manlike to round out the top 10. But what a qualifying session that was. With many of the drivers within 3/10 of each other. Fourth down to 15th is 3/10.
They are so close. But the first three are flying. It's literally incredible. They are literally flying.
Especially Oku, who is 2.5 tenths up on Wards, 3 tenths up pretty much on Steam, and almost 4 tenths up on fourth place Luca. So he is rapid, and he is likely to be, considering his raw pace, challenging for the victory today. But race pace is a very different beast, and we will see this. He is actually one of the only champions on this grid tonight. He won season 12. He won this tier in season 12 with 4 wins and 3 second places. So he is quick, and he's demonstrating it today. One of those wins actually was in Australia, so that proves that regardless of the game, You're still quick on the same sort of tracks.
Now we have to see what strat the drivers will have. Maybe the drivers on the back will do a hard meet, but I think the first 8 or 10 position will be on medium hard, because they prefer to be so quick in the first stint.
Yeah, because you don't really need to take those gambles if you're at the top. But if you're at the bottom, for example, we could see the likes of Pavlos, who we thought was going to switch onto those soft compound tyres early on in this race anyway. I know we went for a different strategy in qualifying, but I wouldn't be surprised if he is on the soft compound tyre for the race. I know he's one that likes to gamble, as we saw in that first session. And we're going to go to the 5 lights for the Australian Grand Prix. It's lights!
Jump start for
and it's a jump start for Manlike. It's a jump start for
Luca retired.
I think we might have a lobby restart, because I'm not sure what's going on here. But we've already got 5 drivers out. That's a huge crash. And surely we're going to have a restart. We do have a safety car in case we are continuing on. But I find it very, very unlikely. Steam leads the race ahead of Justin. Manlike in 3rd. Geordie in 4th. Indian is 5th, sort of. There's a loose wheel. There's a loose wheel, not the tyre. And Justin is the last driver to retire from the session. And, well, there we go. That was an entertaining start, wasn't it? I will check the distance.
Yeah,
we are actually
so much.
restarting.
Yeah, I think.
It looks
Now
like
I see if they do another one lobby.
It looks like we are lobby restarting. I'm not sure why. If anybody could give me any information on that, I would be greatly appreciative. But for now, I'm going to send us, well, as Justin celebrates his victory, I'm going to send us to an intermission. We will be right back after the break. Once I send us to the right intermission. and we are live once again here in Australia for the race and for the Australian Grand Prix around the Albert Park circuit. It's going to be 14 corners, 5.278 kilometers, 3.7279 miles. As I said before, 3 DRS zones, 2 of which back onto each other and act as a double dose of DRS. And we saw a lot of drivers struggling through turn 13 early on. And so we could be in for an exciting race. We're just ready to get going now. And we're just waiting for the green light to turn on.
We have to pay attention on turn 1. So, because it's very easy to do contact with the other driver, so it will be so dangerous for everyone. Maybe who start in the first row will be safe. Maybe.
Everybody's going to have to be very, very tentative going through the first corner, unless they just want to full send it, which is understandable, and which is probably what I would do in their position, but obviously I'm not in their position. I'm here talking to all of you guys, and I'm much happier doing this, to be honest. I wouldn't really want the tension of the first corner. Everybody is going to be on the edge of their cockpit, ready to get going again, and, well, they don't want to crash into the first corner. They want to avoid something along those lines, and especially around Australia, that's something that's surprisingly hard to avoid heading through turn 1. We've talked about the dangers of lap 1, turn 1, and I think it's especially prevalent around this track. There's a few on that list that I would have. There's Australia, there's Japan, there's, I believe, Qatar, are all high-speed right-handers, and they're very difficult to traverse when you've got 20 cars trying to fit into one spot. But we're going to go to the 5 lights for the Australian Grand Prix. It's lights, and it's action. We're away for season 18. Oku gets a good start. Wards tries to pull up alongside.
Whoa, behind!
But it looks like there's
Domizzi
as Oku gets into turn 1. Ward tries to squeeze him out, but Oku takes the lead of this race early on, running wide to try and cover off Wards. And now Wards is under pressure, but he's trying to keep the pressure on the front runners. It's 3 wide behind, as it's Rosso Bielsalsa and Luca. Rosso Bielsalsa takes P3, but he wobbles, and he goes off the track. Huimas takes 3rd place now. Luca takes 4th. Dave takes 5th, and it's inside each other for Reese and Rosso Bielsalsa early on. But it looks like that Rosso Bielsalsa has the match over Steam, and he has the match as well. Going up into P6 now, battling with Steam. It's an interesting battle because they're not side by side. But the two that
Wards
and Oku, and Wards takes the lead of the Grand Prix for the first time since the first corner. And Oku trying to catch back up.
Whoa.
There's chaos behind. There's somebody off. It looks like it's going to be Rosso Bielsalsa. And it looks like Manlike has gone for a journey as well. But Oku side by side with Ward as they head through turn 12. Oku takes the lead back and he squeezes Ward out. Ward tries to switch to the outside line. Huimas is there as well. Lucas trying to push his way through. And heading on to the end of the first lap. It's going to be Oku leading, but for how long? Ward pulls out to the inside line. But he's just not got the straight line speed to get past him for now. All the drivers follow through in formation apart from, who's that? That looks like it's going to be Shumi who tucks back in, or Indian who tucks back in behind Shumi. DRS is enabled on lap 2 of this Grand Prix. It's crazy early on. We've had a lot of action. Manlike is down. Bielsalsa is in the pits. So is Ollie Hornby and Domizzi, who gets a 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. But what a start that was, and it's only set to get better because all the drivers are still within range of each other. That was somebody going over the gravel. There's yellow flags out. Jordi retires in the second. That's both his front tyres gone, and it's the first safety car. DRA Jordi.
So
just going for a spin.
So unlucky,
both front tyres.
Woods was attacking old school. So unlucky.
And this front 4 or 5 drivers who are attacking each other as Ollie Hornby gets a drive-through penalty for speeding under the safety car. He's in P19 though, so it doesn't matter too much. But the top, well, especially the top 2 drivers, they were fighting with each other so hard. Oku and Wards early on with Oku making an incredible move into turn 12, turning into turn 13. What a move that was. As Steam comes into the pits, he must have damage. We're going to watch on board with him as he comes in. Ultra and Pepine come in as well. And yeah, it must be a damaged pit stop. It doesn't look like... No, he is. He is coming into the pit. Sorry about that. My controller shook because it thinks that I'm the one coming into the pits. Yeah, Steam with a new front wing. Are they all new front wings? It looks as though that's the case, and they're going to be able to catch up now. On what tyres are they going to be on? They're going to be on Ultras on new mediums, Pepines on new mediums, Steam and Manlike are both on hard compound tyres. There's the tyres for you, Yelmer. Why are you not racing? You're supposed to... Anyway. I think it's pronounced like that. Anyway, Oku leads ahead of Wards. And the drivers head through now sector 2, and Wards is desperate to get going. You can see he's warming up his tyres, but there's a level of warming up tyres, and then there's a level of, come on, let's get going. Let's get going. But he's got to wait another lap because the likes of Domizi and Ollie Hornby haven't quite caught up to the pack yet, nor is the little group that pitted with Ultras. Wards almost goes into the back of Oku, heading through the chicane. He is desperate to get going again.
Oh.
You tired already? Too much action?
No, it's... and if you paid attention on it, on the first lap, all the drivers won on the DRS zone. It was a very big train. It was really beautiful. I think if we didn't have that safety car, we can had a really great battle. Is behind and in front. That Wards was overtaking Otsu, and then the safety car came out. So I think it will be a very, very brilliant race.
And Otsu obviously has the advantage of leading on this safety car restart ahead of Wards, and they've got that safety blanket of Huimus right behind them, who's on the hard compound tyres. So is Luca. But the fact that they've got drivers who may be slightly slower to warm their tyres up, who may be slightly slower because they're trying to warm their tyres up, and they could be in for a big advantage on this safety car restart, and they could be left to scrap it out at the front. Should be getting going at the end of this lap because Ollie Hornby will be caught up, the pack will be caught up, and all the drivers will be ready to get going again. And oh, I got Yelmer right. I'm very honoured by that, to be honest. The fact that I was able to pronounce it right first time. I'm not the best with pronunciations, as you may be able to tell, because the leader of this race has had about 5 different names so far. But surely we're going to be getting going at the start of lap 5. Oksu will leave it. I think I'm going to go with Oku, and then just see. Yeah, it is safety car in this lap. As what happened there?
Wards have touched and he lost a spoiler. The left spoiler.
Has AMS Wards got damage?
Yes, he got the wing on the left part.
Oh, you can
damaged.
See it there. Yeah, that's a very good camera angle for it. He does have contact. He has made contact with the rear of Oxford. It looked like he was just very slow off the end of the chicane, which we've seen the safety car be. And it'll be interesting to see if Wards comes into the pits. It'll be disappointing because he was looking so ready to get going, and now he's just waiting to come into the pits. But Oku will lead us away on the safety car restart. Wards isn't coming into the pits, so he's going to struggle on, missing an end plate. But Oku takes us back to green flag racing. Wards follows him. Huimus is right behind Wards. He got the start very, very well. He's not going to make the overtake. He's going to stick in behind. And I know it says safety car, but we have gotten back to green flag racing. Wards is under pressure now from Huimus, who's going to go to the inside of turn 3. Is he going to make a huge move? It's a huge lunge. They both locked up. And Huimus is unable to keep it on the track just about. He kept just 1 or 2 tyres on there. And Wards is keeping around the outside. He switches to the inside. And Wards keeps that position. There's contact between the two, which sees Wards succumb the position. But what racing on the restart, and Devect is coming and getting involved as well. He's ahead of Wards and he's up into the podium positions. Wards is really struggling. He's under pressure from Luca. but he's trying to come back at Devect and heading into the chicane. It's going to be side by side between Devect and Luca for that 4th position. Devect holds on to the position. Luca backs out, but these drivers are fighting so hard, especially for this 3rd position. And in the meantime, Oku has built up a gap to be free of the DRS. But Wards, he's struggled off the safety car restart, partially probably as a result of that contact. Is he going to come in this lap because he feels like he can't keep on with the end plate? No, he's not. He's going to continue on. And he's got Devect right on his rear. Devect has the turn in, so he's going to have the momentum as he goes to look to the outside line. Wards defends it. Devect has a look at the inside line, doesn't take the move, but he's right on the rear of Wards as they head down now to turn 3. DRS will be enabled this lap, but it's not enabled at this point. But who needs DRS when you've got a huge send from Devect? He moves up ahead of Wards, and he's up into 3rd place. So Wards falling down from 2nd on the safety car restart, almost 1st. As my co-commentator mentioned, almost taking that position, but that safety car came out at just the wrong time for him. And now he's fallen down into 4th, and he's got damage, and Luca could be pushing him. Luca's going to go around the outside and try to take the position. He has indeed taken the position, and Reese is going to come in and try.
Guimus is close. Guimus is close.
Guimus is close now to Oku. And they're side by side, but Reese gets past Wards, and he's now down into P6, but Guimus is much closer to Oku. You can see on your screens, he's closed that 2nd gap in. No one else really has. So Guimus on the safety car restart is a winner so far.
Behind us.
What's happened there? It looks like Nox and Shumi.
Oh God! Indian was spinning. Oh, another touch. Pavios, I think.
That could be Pavlos down. That could be as well. I think that's a car stopped on track. Is that Demizzi? No, it's not. Who is it? It's Ollie Hornby, who was the car stopped on track.
Pay attention now on Guimus.
He's looking to take the position. He's going to stay behind Oku for the time being, but these two are streets ahead of the rest of the pack early on. Devect is out of the DRS, and Shumi's had another issue. What's happened there? It looks like he's gone for a spin. He's recovered it, but he's down into P17. He's coming under pressure from Demizzi, who's been nowhere in this race so far. And these two could be in for a battle for P17. But we don't care about P17. We want to see who's going to lead the race. Going through the fast chicane, and it's going to be side by side between Oku and Huimus. Huimus is down the inside, and he takes the lead of this Grand Prix. Oku is not going to fight it back through the chicane, but you can imagine on the exit, he's going to try. He's going to put the power down. He doesn't have the DRS, though. That's Huimus because the detection zone is all the way back before the flat-out moving section that we could count as corners. We don't, but we could do. And Huimus takes the lead. Oku, though, he's going to have the double DRS dose as we head on to lap 8 of this Grand Prix. And the likelihood is that we could be seeing Oku retake the lead of the race, although the gap between himself and Huimus is growing. It's going to shrink because of the DRS as Huimus takes the fastest lap, but it has grown to 6-7 tenths, and Devect has closed into Oku. But he's only 5 tenths away now. So Oku will be looking behind him instead of in front. But early on in this race, we've had so much action. As we've got Steam as well, another driver who's fallen down. He's going to dive down the inside of Nox, and it's going to be contact between the two cars. He's ghosting is Steam. They're still side by side. Steam wobbles on the curbing, and that means that he's going to have to give the position back up to Nox. But Steam, who had this early, who had the position on the track, just struggled, and he's fallen down 9 places now. He's down into P12. As
Words, I think that for the contact he's losing so much time, and pay attention on Devect. Maybe he was going on the inside on Oxco, but I think he will do on the first straight.
Yeah, because he wants that double dose of ERS. That is or DRS. Sorry, that's absolutely crucial. And he's going to come around the final corner, put the power down. He's right on the rear, putting the pressure on the season 12 champion. Devect is right behind Oku, and they're going to head through turn 1. It's quick. Huimus runs a little bit wide. Devect tries to cling to that inside line as Jake gets a 3-second penalty. Devect is staying behind Oku. They're settling into the race now. Pavlos isn't, though. He's around the outside of Jake. He takes the position. and he's looking to fight his way up. Where did he start? He started all the way down in P17. Jake, to be fair, started down in P15, so these two have been massive beneficiaries.
They gained 10 position Pauios and 7 Jake and 7 Ultra. They do a really great start today. I think someone behind in the wall. No.
It looked like Nox has taken a knock, but there's battling up in the top pack.
Luca!
Oku and Devect all swapping positions. Luca taking P2. Devect keeping the pressure on Oku, but this time it's for the final podium position. He's going to look down the inside. Is Devect? Is he going to take the position? It's going to be very, very tight. And a massive wobble with the rear. The rear just stepped out. And it means that he's not going to fight for that position. Reese is holding his own. And almost had a look at Devect there. He decided not to go for it. But early on, this fighting is absolutely incredible. And this top 5 pack is only going to continue. And that's somebody behind going for the overtake. It looks like it's going to be AMS Ward. He's defending from Ultra as Ultra takes P8 in this race, and he closes in on Jake ahead. Reese is in P5 and he's just staying behind Devect, who is putting the pressure on.
Indian touched on the exit of turn 3. Molly lose 2 position.
So there was contact between Indian and Manlike that sees Manlike fall down the order a little bit, although he's looking to get back up, but not as quickly as Rosso BL Salsa wants to get past Pepine as Wards falls down another position behind Steam. BL Salsa around the outside. Are we going to see the first side-by-side move into the chicane? Yes, we are. And it's going to be BL Salsa who comes out on top of Pepine, who sort of backed out, so it wasn't really a move through the chicane, but it was a good move nonetheless. Indian gets past Wards, and Manlight gets past Pepine, and he's back up into P13. And it's just fighting up and down the grid. It's so difficult to keep up with, but it's so good that we have that problem coming around the final corner, getting the power up down. Surely Devect has enough to catch up and overtake Oku. It doesn't look like he does. Heading into turn 1, Oku just has that superior straight line speed, or they're about equal, which means that Devect can't close in. And is he going to look to the inside line? He is, but braking early. Staying behind Oku, just letting him know he's there. He is going to fight, but he's not
Jake and Pauios
yet. Jake and Pavlos.
Yes.
Leads Jake. Was it very close? Was there contact?
Jake he has so much understeer in the fast turn.
As we see a switch for the lead now, as Luca and Guimas momentarily side by side. Luca maintains top position. Jake gets past Pavlos, and Oku was under pressure from Devect. But this top 5 group is going to be the battle for the lead and the win today. Steam makes a move on Ultra. He looks to make a move on Pavlos as well. He doesn't, and he's going to stay behind in P8. But this group, we've got a couple of little groups that are fighting now. We've got the top 5 group, and then we've got 6 to about 10, about 11, and about, well, all the way down to 14 if you count Wards and Pepine, although they're out of DRS range now. So Wards really falling down, really struggling because of the fact that he's missing that front wing end plate, and he comes into the pit on lap 12 of this Grand Prix. So we've got people pitting. This is about the right time for those medium runners to come into the pit. And this is about the right time for those hard compound runners like Lucas and Huimus, who have taken the advantage and are likely to take the victory here today. They have the lead. They're building a gap to Oku that's going to be over DRS range by the time that they reach. Although now that Oku, it seems, maybe pushing on the ERS to try and catch back up as they head through the chicane. But to have built this gap up when the mediums were still active, now that the hards are the more active tyre, it's very interesting to see that the hards were already in the lead of this race. Oku, Devect and Reese will be thinking about pitting, and we could see different strategies as we've got Steam down the inside of Jake, and he takes the position. Jake looking for the who was that? That was Rosso BL Salsa, who just went straight on in the background of your screens, and he's down into P12. He's in another position to Pepine. He's down in P13. And we do have drivers coming into the pits.
No, Otsko Reese box.
Otsko is in the box. Reese is in the box.
Medium.
And they're coming in for the hard compound tyres. Which is about the right time, I think. And where are they going to come out in relation to the rest of the grid?
Guimos and Luca. Guimos and Luca.
Guimos
They
and
were
Luca,
side by side.
They were side by side. Luca manages to hold on to the position. Guimos is right behind. But these two are fighting early on in this race. We're not even halfway through yet, and these two are fighting for the lead, which isn't a smart idea. You want to be fighting for the lead when Oku and Reese are unable to take the advantage, because they're down in P12 and P13. If they fight, then Luca and Guimos are allowed to fight. But Guimos looked at for a very, very brief second.
Oh, Luca!
Luca's off the track, and he loses that first position. He loses second to Devect. And Luca falls down a mistake from the leader of this race. Sees a switch for the lead. Steam takes 4th place ahead of Pavlos. But Luca will be ruining that later on in the race. He was just feeling the pressure from Guimos.
Devect pit.
As Devect, yes, he comes into the pits. Guimos and Luca, you'd expect to go on for maybe another few laps. But Guimos takes the lead of this race. Who was that boxing as well? Ultra comes into the box. We've got Devect and Ultra both coming into the box. On this lap, Devect is serving a penalty, it looks like. And he's going to come out most likely behind Reese and behind Oku. Reese goes through. Oku goes through. Devect slots in. Just behind them in P12. He's just within the DRS zone and he'll probably fall out of it as Ward takes the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. He's looking to fight back after that contact made near the safety car restart between himself and Oku. I'm sure that won't be the end that we hear of that incident, especially in the Discord.
Luca is again on DRS zone.
Luca's within the DRS range of Guimos. So he has pushed so hard to catch back up to Guimos. He must have been conserving as Oku switches with Reese once again for P10. Those two seem to be working together. They've closed 2 seconds in on Pepine on this lap. And I'd imagine they're hoping that Pepine moves out the way, comes into the pits in the next couple of laps before they catch him. Luca gets DRS down the main straight. He is going to get a double dose, but is that double dose worth 7/10? Is that double dose worth him catching up? It doesn't look like it is. He's gained a couple of tenths on the main straight. He's within 5, but I don't think that when he heads down up to turn 3, which is the first real braking zone of the lap, he'll be anywhere near close. Now he's not, as Oku sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. He's within 3.6 seconds of Pepine right now, but Luca is closing in on Guimos. He's looking to fight him. Guimos is flashing. There's a lack of DRS for the race leader. As what's happened to Steam? Steam has spun. So we've had another spin, and Steam is without a front wing. But looking back at the action for the lead, Luca takes the impossible line. Guimos allows him the space, and Luca takes the lead of the Grand Prix. It looks like Steam may have gone around once again, but a few drivers really struggling for grip. We mentioned this at the top of the broadcast about the fact that they were really going to struggle because of the fact that it's a very high-speed circuit, and especially when you've got worn tyres, like I'd imagine Steam's are now, considering I think that's the second time he's gone around on 12-lap-old hards. They will be screaming out at this point in the race. Pavlos picks up a 3-second penalty. Steam picks up a 3-second penalty as well. So that will be a situation to monitor at the end of this Grand Prix. But Luca heads on to lap 16 in the lead of this Grand Prix. Guimos is closing in, though, with the DRS. As yellow flags out, it looks like it's for GL Ultra, but it doesn't look like a big incident, and he's able to keep it in a straight line. Rosso Biel-Salsa comes into the pits. So he must have had contact, or he thinks that those hards just aren't working anymore, and he's going to switch onto the softs. Steam comes in, but that's less of a surprise. Steam retires from the session in the pits. Not his day, he doesn't feel. Although he wasn't the worst off. Demizzi is still going on 13-lap-old mediums. He's going to come out on the hard compound tyres. But Guimos, he's closing in on Luca. And it's just, he can't quite get close enough in those DRS zones to be able to take the advantage and take that position and take the lead from Luca. I think whoever this driver is ahead, I think Ollie Hornby, who's about to be lapped, could play a crucial role in these next couple of laps But I think the drivers on the hard compound tyres are going to be looking to come into the pits. The undercut is very strong on F1 2024, or F1 24, as it's known officially. And are either of these drivers going to trigger it? Not on this occasion. Luca and Huimus stay out for another lap. We've got Jake, he's staying out. They don't think that it's the time to pit. They think they're going to push a couple more laps on those hards. As Devect gets past Pepine for P9. And Reese, Oku and Pepine. As what's happened? It looks like Knox. What's happened to Knox? I think he's retired in the pit lane. Indeed he has. So he becomes the third retirement of the session. Pavlos dives down the inside of Jake. He's able to get the move done, but Jake trying to hold on to the outside line. Pavlos, though, holds on to the position. Pepine's come in for another set of medium compound tyres, which is interesting. But there we go. Because when you're out of the points, it can feel very, very demoralising. And so you do something like that. I'm pretty sure he's come in for a second set of medium compound tyres. Has Pepine? Well, actually, that's his second pit stop. As Jake
and Pavlos.
4P3. And he's up into the podium positions, but obviously he will be coming under pressure as Jake takes a 3-second time penalty.
Luca and Guimus, they touched.
Luca and Guimus have touched. They made contact. Was there any damage?
No. Fortunately not. Oh! Guimus, they go on box.
They're both coming to the pits at the end of this lap. I will be interested to see if either of them have picked up damage. As Luca picks up a 10-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. That could be decisive in his race today. Both Huimus and Luca have come into the pits. Luca's... Whoever that is behind Luca, that's Huimus. They've double stacked. They're in the same pit box.
No.
And that's so unlucky for both drivers. As Luca picks up a 10-second time penalty, Huimus had to double stack. Obviously, it's randomized, whoever your teammate is. And both those drivers are very unlucky. And you can probably imagine that it's going to be these three, Oku, Devect and Reese, battling for the lead and the victory. As Luca's 5 seconds down on them with a 10-second time penalty. Huimus is another 5 seconds down because of Luca's pit stop. But just a horrible coincidence for those drivers that Indian takes the lead of the race ahead of Jake. Jake is looking to take it back. He's not going to go side by side into the chicane. There's blue flags out. That's Ollie Hornby, I believe. As Devect takes the provisional lead of the race off of Oku. His tyres are younger, so he's got that advantage. And with the times being so close, I wouldn't be surprised if...
a little bit wide, Devect.
Devect went a little bit wide, but with those tyres, with that tyre advantage that he has of only a lap, that could be the little bit of difference that he needs in order to win this Grand Prix. Indian and Jake come into the pits. So order is restored at the top with Devect. Although Manlight doesn't actually come into the pits, so order isn't quite restored, but Devect is only 3 seconds off Manlight, with Oku in third and Reese in fourth. This is the battle for the race victory today between these three drivers on the hard compound tyres. And Oku looks for the impossible move down the inside of Devect. There's contact between the two drivers, I think. And Oku's missed out. Reese heads up into P3. Oku runs wide. But Reese is up into P3. Oku really missed out. He went for a gamble of a move, and it has certainly not paid off.
And Luca gained like a half of a tenth.
But he's got another 3 second time penalty. That takes his penalties in the race up to 13 seconds. The most of anybody in this race so far is Oku around the outside of Reese. Reese, hands in the position because they're going through that chicane. You cannot go side by side through there. And Oku takes P3, which is provisionally P2, because we will most likely see Manlight into the pits in the next couple of laps. As we see GL Ultra, what's happened to him? He's gone round. Who's that going round as well? That was Jake who's gone round. And he makes contact with the wall. He takes damage. And he falls all the way down the order. So you really have to stay out of the walls at this track if you want any chance of points. But if you do, you get an incredible chance. Devect is within 2 seconds of Manlight now. And it's likely that he's going to catch him on this lap, because although those hard compound tyres have done 6 laps, Manlight's, well, they've done 17. And I think
maybe he can take the DRS only.
He will
Jake
comes into the pits and retires. But he is going to take the DRS down the back straight. Not the double dose, the other era of DRS maybe. He was closing in quite easily, but now he's 1.1 seconds behind Manlike, who I think is going to go to the end of the race. I think he's going to try and take that gamble and try and stay out, unless there's a late safety car, which, with some of the action that we've seen so far this race, I wouldn't be surprised about. And I wouldn't be opposed to, because it allows Luca and Huimus to come back into the race when they've had incidents through no faults of their own. Although Lucas, you could argue, was a little bit more because he got a penalty for speeding in the pit lane. But then Huimus just got held up. And he was very unlucky. Reese is looking to catch Oku heading down to turn 1. But Oku just has the straight line speed advantage. And they're going to stay like that. Demizi picks up another penalty. That's 6 seconds worth of penalties for him now. And is that fighting up at the top? Oku making contact with Devect as they head through turn 3. Devect just went a little bit too slowly for Oku, his liking, but he hasn't received any damage, thankfully. And these two, they've tussled quite a few times on track. But who's going to come out on top today as Devect gets past Manlike? How quickly can Oku get past him as well? Manlike looks like he's going to give him the position. Reese, I think, is too far back to get past him before the chicane. I'm going to eat my words straight away because Manlike hands him the position. But who do you think is going to come out on top?
For me, old school. He's a little bit more quick than the other. So for me, old school can win this race. You've got to win this race. I think he's got a decent chance as well, but I think Devect, his tyres being just a lap fresher, will allow him to hold on to that P7. As now they head down the main straight. Oku closing in once again on Devect. The straight line speed of these two just seems to be matched. And whoever has the DRS will take P1. And that, on this occasion, is Oku, who takes the lead of this race away from Devect. Devect, though, isn't going to give it up without a fight. He went momentarily side by side, but he's tucked back in P2. Reese wanted that position. He's going to have to wait longer, as that's Justin retiring in the pit lane, I believe. Although that may be out on track. I'm not 100% sure. No, it's in pit lane.
It's in the pit lane. Devect pushing Oku. Who cares about DRS, says Devect, and he's up into P1. He takes the lead of this race. Reese had a moment where he was looking to get past Oku. He's not going to. Tell you who's benefiting from this, Manlike, who's able to stay in the DRS despite his 10-lap older hards. And he's able to stay in this fight. Pavlos gets past Remus, who has picked up a penalty. I'm not 100% sure when he picked that up, but it's 3 seconds. And Luca adds to his penalties. He's desperate to get back into this race. He is gaining the time, but then he's just losing it because of the penalties that he's got, which now total up to 16 seconds worth of penalties. And that it's disappointing for him. But there we go. Oksu looking to head through turn 1, and there's a virtual safety car. Virtual safety car out. Demizi, I think that is, who's had an incident on the exit to turn 4. And he is the cause of this virtual safety car. Perfect timing for Pepine, who's going to come in. Perfect timing would have been for quite a few of these drivers if it had come out maybe a couple of seconds earlier. It would have been incredible for the likes of Manlike, who could have come in onto the softs that Pepine has come onto. That's a bold call, soft compound tyres. We talked about how they're going to eat it up, how the track's going to eat them up as they head round. As we head back to green flag racing, Oku is pushing Devect through. And Oku is down the inside. He's going to go into the next section of the track, the chicane, which no one dares to go side by side through. And Devect doesn't dare. He has, a couple of times this race, dared more than many. But on this occasion, he tucks in behind. And the top 4 are staying within range. Luca has been a huge beneficiary of that virtual safety car. He's within DRS of Manlike. But is he really going to gain 16 seconds as Demizi goes round again? And Pavlos and Huimus continue their fight for that 6th position. Into the pits comes Demizi. And I would imagine that's the last we're going to see of him this race. Devect right on the rear of Oku. This is the closest that he's been. And can he take the lead of this race? DRS is wide open. He's to the inside, to the lead of this race, Devect. As there's a huge lockup, but he manages to hold on to the position. And Devect leads this race once more. Oku in second place, Reese in third, Manlike in fourth, and Luca in fifth. But they're lucky, I think, Manlike and Luca, to be tagging on to this group. And I think it's really, realistically, going to be between the top three. Although, if we've seen Devect and Oku come as close as they have over the last few laps, we could be seeing more contact. Reese is daring. He's daring. Oku is going to have to make a difficult decision. It's side by side with somebody. And he doesn't want to go side by side with Devect. He opts for Reese, who backs out. But Reese is really pressuring Oku here. He's really making his name known. With these two drivers at the top, they were the two drivers who I picked at the start of this little battle. But I forgot about Reese, and I forgot about what he could offer and bring to the table. And he's bringing to the table some incredible fighting. Down the main straight they go for the 25th time in this Grand Prix.
Luca on Molly.
And Luca gets past Manlike into P4. And that's to be expected with those medium compound tyres. He's going to look to put the pressure on Reese, who's going to look to put the pressure on Oku. Around the outside, heading into turn 3. Who is going to hold their nerve? It's going to be Reese, but he makes a massive wobble, and he falls down behind Oku. Is he going to fall down behind Luca as well? No, he's not. But he dared to dream, and that dream has come crumbling down. He's back into P3. He's going to have another go on the next lap. But this racing is incredible. Luca is right ahead of Manlike, who's pressuring him once again. We thought he would fall off, but he's done no such thing. The hard compound runner of Manlike is still pressuring Luca. He's still chasing him. And this top 5 battle is not done. 6th and 7th is still being competed for by Pavlos and Huimus. Huimus is going to get the DRS. No, he's not. Pavlos is going to get the DRS. And Indian is going to pull out on Huimus. He's going to be side by side. It's difficult to go side by side there, but they've managed it. They're on the track, and Indian takes the position. Huimus just about holding on to the track position, and he's just about staying on the track. It's incredibly close between these two drivers. It's incredibly close at the top. This is what we watch racing for. We watch it for racing, and that's certainly what we're getting here. We don't want to see any DRS trains like you'd expect from these sorts of drivers, from this top 5. We are getting action. As Indian gets past Pavlos, he's up into the lead of that little battle. And they are actually closing in on the top 3, but all 3 of them do have penalties, as Indian takes a massive wobble on the exit. That invites Pavlos back in. But that wobble has scared Pavlos into not attacking. There's a yellow flag out once again. I'm not sure what that's for. But Reese is closing in on Oku. Oku's got DRS open somehow through this section. And he is going to be under pressure from Reese once again. It's going to be Oku leading Reese heading into the 3rd DRS zone of this lap. This race has been action for all 26 laps. And it doesn't look like it's stopping anytime soon. A big lockup for Oku. And a big one on the exit. Reese is going to take P2. And Reese is up. And into that 2nd place. Luca looks to fight with Oku, but he's going to tuck him behind because Oku didn't lose that much momentum. But that position that he's lost is crucial. Wards, in the meantime, causes the 2nd virtual safety car of this Grand Prix.
No, safety car, I think.
It says virtual safety car on my screen.
No, the safety car is
there is a
going
safety
out.
car out. Reese takes P2 off Oku. There is a safety car out, but it looks like everyone is going to have to go around another lap. Shumi comes in. Ultra comes in. BL Salsa comes in. We are having incredible action. The laps can't decide how many there is. It's just gone from 26 to 25 to 27 now. I don't know what's happening, but I like it. It is a full safety car. You are correct. And they're going to come around and try to follow up. Anybody going to dare a move into the pits? I won't. I wouldn't think so at this point in the race. Who would you want to be at this point in the race, Simlast?
I hope that Guimus can maybe go a little bit up with this safety car, because he was so unlucky, and he deserves to be in podium for me.
He does, and Pavlos and Primus will be able to close in on the top 5 groups if we are correct, and that safety car is actually going to go round. If it's going to park there, then he's got no chance, and it does look like they are closing in. So it does look like we are going to have a full course safety car, which is going to be interesting because it's going to be out for surely one lap. As somebody does dare a move into the pits, it's going to be Reese into the pits for
and Manley
and Manlike and Pavlos and Huimas come into the pits and Indian as
and
well.
Indian.
All these drivers, they've got nothing to lose. Reese in the pits, he's out. Manlike had to wait in the pits for, I don't know who that was. Who he had to wait for, I think it might have been Pavlos. New front wing on for Huimos, so his afternoon just gets from bad to worse, and his track position, he's going to be all the way down in P8, maybe even further. So his race victory opportunity has been swept from underneath him. And Devect, Oku and Luca are going to be ruining the fact that they did not come in for the soft compound tyres. Now, has your opinion changed? Would you like to be any of these drivers in the top 3, or would you like to be a Reese or a Pavlos or a Manlike who is penalty free? He's the first of those soft runners to be penalty free. Which one would you like to be?
Manley, because I will have the compounds, the soft compound, and he will be quicker than all of the top 3, and Reese and Pavios, they have penalty, so. And the safety car is joining in this lap.
Safety car is coming in at the end of this lap. So, interestingly enough, we still have the pelotons we had. We still have the top 6. Devect, Oku, Luca, Reese, Pavlos, and Manlike. We've got Indian, who's going to join up to the back of them now with Huimas behind him. Shumi's going to pull up to the back of them, almost going to the back of Huimas. We've got Rosso, BL Salsa. We've got Ultra, who's going to catch up. Pepine, who's going to catch up. Ollie Hornby, who is AI, so he's not going to it. Demizzi, who is a lap down. But Devect is going to take us back to racing. We've got just 1 lap of action to go, and he's taking his time. Luca is desperate to get past Doku. Devect is going to wait. He's going to wait. He's going to put the power down, and we're getting going for one final time in Tier 4. It's going to be Devect leading. Luca's trying to push through Oku, but Reese gets ahead of him. They're side by side. Contact. Luca's round. And Reese takes P3. Luca goes round. Manlike holds on to P4 by the skin of his teeth. In the end, it's going to get passed around the outside. It's 3 wide. Himself and Pavlos, they're 3 wide. In the end, takes the position off of Manlike, and he's up into P4. Side by side between Pavlos and Huimos. Just behind. Luca retires from the session. His day is done. Shumi tucks in behind Huimas. He was looking to fight him just for a moment. I don't know who to watch. There's so much action. We've got Indian right behind Reese. We've got Reese right behind Oku. And we've got Oku looking to take first place off of Davek into the chicane. Oku takes the lead in this Grand Prix. Davek's in 2nd. Reese in 3rd. Indian in 4th. Reese wants that 2nd place on track, though. He's got a 3-second time penalty, and he's going to thread the needle, looking to take 1st place. Oku, he's going to look up, but he takes P1. He's holding on to it. Devect in P3, Indian in P4, and it looks like this is going to be your race order for this Grand Prix. There's contact. Devect spins a little bit.
Molly on Devect.
Takes the position. Devect made contact with somebody, and he's falling down the order. But Oku and Reese are going to be side by side. Oku takes the lead today, and he takes the race victory. Oku holds on, and Oku is the man who is on top today. What an incredible race. 29 laps of pretty much action from lights to flag. And I will see, actually, we will get a confirmation of the order in a second, but I'm pretty sure that that was a victory for Oku. It looked like Manlike took 2nd place because of Reese's 3-second time penalty. But what an incredible race. That was loads of action. And I think we've got a couple of people not very happy with the end of that race. But we've got Oku. He does take victory. Manlike in 2nd. Devect in 3rd. Shumi in 4th and Ultra in 5th. So staying penalty free. Got you a top 4 finish. Ultra in 5th. Reese in 6th. Huimas in 7th. Indian in 8th. Pavlos in 9th. Rosso Bielsa in 10th. The final points position, but he does take the fastest lap. Pepine in 11th. Luca in 12th. Very, very unlucky. 13th goes to Demizzi. And 14th goes to Ollie Hornby, who I don't think will be classified because he was missing for that last part of the Grand Prix. Ward's in 15th. Justin in 16th. Jake in 17th. Knox in 18th. Steam in 19th. And Geordie was the first driver to retire and the last driver in today's standings. But what a race. What are your thoughts on it?
It was an incredible race, and I hope we will see so much other race like that, because he was full of battles, contacts, and it was really beautiful to see.
That was an amazing race. Thank you for joining me. And I hope you enjoyed the commentary from myself and Simlast. And from us to you, thank you. Join us next week. I'm not 100% sure whether I'll be doing Tier 4, but I know that Simlast will. And I'll see you again next time. Goodbye.
Bye.